Helena Blavatsky's most profound contribution to esoteric philosophy was her systematic exposition of the 7 cosmic planes of existence, a comprehensive map of reality that extended far beyond the material world recognized by 19th century science. In The Secret Doctrine, published in 1888, she presented this cosmological framework as the fundamental structure underlying all manifestation, from the smallest atom to the grandest cosmic cycles. This septenary system, she claimed, was derived from the ancient wisdom preserved in Tibetan monasteries and communicated to her by the masters of wisdom who had maintained this knowledge throughout the ages. The concept of 7 planes represented a radical departure from the dualistic thinking that dominated Western philosophy and religion, which typically recognized only matter and spirit as fundamental realities. Blavatsky's model proposed 7 distinct yet interpenetrating levels of existence, each characterized by different rates of vibration and degrees of materiality. These planes were not separate locations, but rather different states of cosmic substance, all coexisting within the same space while operating according to distinct laws and principles. According to Blavatsky's teachings, every entity in the universe, from a grain of sand to a human being to a planet, manifests simultaneously on all 7 planes, though consciousness typically focuses on only 1 or 2 levels at any given time. This multidimensional nature of existence explained phenomena that materialistic science could not account for, such as telepathy, clairvoyance, and survival after physical death. The 7-plane model provided a rational framework for understanding these experiences without resorting to supernatural explanations. The masters revealed to Blavatsky that understanding the 7 planes was essential for human spiritual evolution, as conscious development required learning to function effectively on progressively subtler levels of reality. This knowledge, preserved in the ancient wisdom traditions of Tibet and India, represented the key to unlocking human potential and achieving the liberation from ignorance that all authentic spiritual paths ultimately sought. The lowest and densest of the 7 cosmic planes in Blavatsky's system is the physical plane, which encompasses not only the solid, liquid, and gaseous states of matter recognized by conventional science, but also the etheric subplane that serves as the bridge between purely physical and more subtle forms of existence. Blavatsky's presentation of the physical plane in The Secret Doctrine demonstrated remarkable prescience, as her descriptions of atomic structure and the relationship between matter and energy anticipated many scientific discoveries that would not be confirmed until the 20th century. The etheric aspect of the physical plane, according to Blavatsky's teachings, consists of 4 increasingly subtle grades of matter that interpenetrate and animate all physical forms. This etheric matter serves as the template or blueprint upon which physical manifestation occurs, containing the patterns and forces that determine the growth, development, and eventual dissolution of all material objects. The etheric body of living beings contains the vital force or prana that animates the physical form and maintains the complex processes necessary for life. Blavatsky explained that phenomena such as mesmerism, spiritual healing, and psychic materializations operate primarily through the etheric subplane, where thought and will can directly influence the subtle matter that underlies physical manifestation. The etheric plane serves as the medium through which the higher planes impact physical reality, making it crucial for understanding how consciousness affects matter and how spiritual practices can produce tangible results. The master teachings received by Blavatsky emphasized that mastery of the etheric plane was essential for all advanced spiritual work, as this level of reality provides the foundation for conscious operation on higher planes. Those who developed etheric sight could perceive the life forces animating all forms, understand the true causes of physical phenomena, and learn to direct subtle energies for healing and spiritual development. This knowledge formed the basis for many practical applications of theosophical teachings in fields such as alternative medicine and psychic development. The astral plane, the second in Blavatsky's septenary cosmology, represents the realm of emotions, desires, and psychic phenomena that extends far beyond the physical world while remaining intimately connected to human experience. In her detailed exposition found in The Secret Doctrine and other writings, Blavatsky described the astral plane as the sphere where human consciousness operates during dreams, emotional states, and after physical death during the intermediate period between incarnations. This plane consists of 7 subdivisions, ranging from the lowest levels characterized by coarse desires and violent emotions to the highest astral regions of refined feeling and aesthetic appreciation. Blavatsky explained that the astral body of every human being is constantly interacting with these various levels, attracting influences that correspond to the individual's emotional and desire nature. The quality of one's astral experiences, both during life and after death, depends entirely upon the character of desires and emotions cultivated during physical existence. The astral plane serves as the repository of all emotional and psychic impressions, forming what Blavatsky termed the astral light or Akashic records, where every thought, feeling, and action leaves an indelible trace. Psychics and clairvoyants access information by reading these astral impressions, though Blavatsky warned that the astral realm could be highly deceptive, as the desires and expectations of the observer often color and distort the perceptions received from this plane. According to the master teachings transmitted through Blavatsky, the astral plane represents a crucial stage in human evolution where individuals must learn to purify their desire nature and develop discrimination between authentic spiritual impulses and mere astral attractions. The process of spiritual development requires transcending identification with astral desires while maintaining the capacity to function consciously on this plane when necessary for service to others or the acquisition of specific knowledge. The mental plane, occupying the 3rd position in Blavatsky's cosmological hierarchy, represents the sphere of pure thought and intellectual activity that transcends the emotional turbulence of the astral realm. In The Secret Doctrine, Blavatsky described this plane as divided into 2 major sections: the lower mental or concrete mind, where individual thought forms and personal intellectual activities occur, and the higher mental or abstract mind, where universal principles and archetypal ideas exist in their pristine form. The lower mental subplane contains the thought forms created by human mental activity, ranging from the crude mental constructions of untrained minds to the sophisticated intellectual edifices built by philosophers, scientists, and artists. Blavatsky explained that every thought creates a temporary entity on the mental plane, endowed with a lifespan proportional to the energy and clarity invested in its creation. These thought forms can influence other minds that resonate with similar ideas, explaining phenomena such as simultaneous discoveries and the spread of intellectual movements. The higher mental plane, according to Blavatsky's teachings, serves as the repository of eternal ideas and universal principles that inspire human genius and provide the foundation for all authentic knowledge. Great philosophers, artists, and scientists access this level of reality during moments of inspiration, translating abstract principles into forms that can be comprehended by ordinary human consciousness. The masters themselves operate primarily from this plane, utilizing its resources to guide human evolution and preserve ancient wisdom. Blavatsky emphasized that development of the mental body and the ability to function consciously on the mental plane was essential for genuine spiritual progress. The cultivation of abstract thinking, the study of universal principles, and the practice of meditation were identified as primary methods for strengthening the mental faculties and establishing conscious connection with this crucial level of existence. The mental plane serves as the bridge between the personality-centered consciousness of the lower planes and the spiritual awareness of the higher realms. The Buddhic plane, fourth in Blavatsky's septenary system, represents the first of the truly spiritual planes, where the limitations of personal consciousness begin to dissolve into universal awareness. Named after the Sanskrit term buddhi, meaning intuitive wisdom or spiritual discrimination, this plane serves as the bridge between the mental realm of individual thought and the purely spiritual dimensions of cosmic consciousness. In her exposition of this level in The Secret Doctrine, Blavatsky described it as the sphere where direct spiritual knowledge becomes possible without the mediation of rational thought or emotional desire. The Buddhic plane is characterized by what Blavatsky termed intuitive perception, a mode of knowing that grasps universal truths immediately and completely without the sequential process required by mental analysis. Those who develop the capacity to function on this plane experience a form of consciousness that transcends the dualistic thinking characteristic of lower levels, recognizing the fundamental unity underlying all apparent diversity. This direct perception of unity forms the basis for genuine compassion and wisdom, as the separation between self and others dissolves in the recognition of shared essential nature. According to the master teachings received by Blavatsky, the Buddhic plane serves as the normal level of consciousness for those advanced souls who have completed their human evolution and achieved what traditional Buddhism calls enlightenment or liberation. These beings, including the masters themselves, operate primarily from this level, while maintaining the ability to project consciousness into lower planes when necessary for teaching or guidance purposes. Blavatsky explained that development of Buddhic consciousness represents the primary goal of human spiritual evolution, as this achievement marks the transition from the human to the superhuman kingdom. The cultivation of pure compassion, the practice of selfless service, and the study of universal principles were identified as the most effective methods for awakening the dormant Buddhic faculties present in every human being. The rare individuals who achieve stable Buddhic consciousness during physical incarnation serve as bridges between humanity and the spiritual hierarchy. The Atmic plane, fifth in Blavatsky's cosmological framework, represents the sphere of pure spiritual will and the first reflection of the divine essence within manifestation. Derived from the Sanskrit term Atman, referring to the universal self or divine spark within all beings, this plane embodies the principle of pure being that underlies all existence. In The Secret Doctrine, Blavatsky described the Atmic plane as the source of that divine impulse which initiates and sustains all evolutionary development throughout the cosmic cycles. This plane transcends all personal characteristics and individual limitations, representing a level of consciousness where only the universal aspect of existence can be experienced. Those rare beings capable of touching this level of awareness discover their fundamental identity with the divine source of all life, recognizing themselves as expressions of the one cosmic self that animates all forms throughout the universe. This realization produces what Blavatsky termed cosmic consciousness, a state of awareness that encompasses all existence within a single unified perception. The Atmic plane serves as the repository of what Blavatsky called the monadic essence of all evolving beings, the indestructible divine spark that persists throughout all incarnations and serves as the ultimate source of individual identity. While this essence remains largely unconscious during the early stages of evolution, the entire journey of spiritual development aims toward the awakening of conscious identification with this atmic nature. According to the ancient wisdom preserved by the masters and transmitted through Blavatsky's writings, the atmic plane represents the goal toward which all human evolution ultimately tends. The achievement of stable atmic consciousness marks the completion of the human phase of development and the beginning of cosmic service as a conscious agent of divine will. The methods for approaching this exalted state include the complete surrender of personal desires, the cultivation of universal love, and the sustained practice of meditation upon the unity of all existence. The monadic plane, sixth in Blavatsky's septenary cosmology, represents the sphere of pure divine essence, where individual consciousness merges so completely with universal awareness that separate identity becomes virtually meaningless. In her most advanced teachings found in The Secret Doctrine, Blavatsky described this plane as the level where the divine monads, or spiritual atoms of consciousness, exist in their pristine state, prior to their involvement in the evolutionary journey through lower planes of manifestation. This exalted realm transcends all concepts and categories that can be grasped by human understanding, as it represents a level of unity so complete that even the subtle distinctions present on lower spiritual planes disappear into undifferentiated divine consciousness. Blavatsky explained that the monadic plane serves as the source from which all individual streams of consciousness emerge at the beginning of cosmic cycles, and to which they eventually return after completing their evolutionary journey through all lower levels of existence. The beings who function on the monadic plane, according to Blavatsky's teachings, have transcended all personal characteristics and individual karma, becoming pure expressions of divine will and wisdom. These cosmic entities serve as the architects of evolutionary systems, designing and implementing the vast schemes of development that guide the progress of consciousness through successive planes and kingdoms of nature. Their work operates on scales of time and space that exceed human comprehension, encompassing entire planetary systems and cosmic cycles. Blavatsky emphasized that while the monadic plane represents the ultimate source and goal of human evolution, conscious functioning on this level lies far beyond the reach of current humanity. The ancient wisdom traditions speak of this achievement as requiring eons of development and the complete transformation of consciousness through systematic spiritual practice. Nevertheless, understanding the existence of this ultimate level provides context for the entire evolutionary journey and inspiration for continued spiritual effort. The seventh and highest plane in Blavatsky's cosmological system is the logoic, or Adi plane, representing the sphere of pure cosmic consciousness, where the divine logos, or creative word, manifests the initial impulse that brings entire universes into existence. In the most esoteric sections of The Secret Doctrine, Blavatsky described this plane as the source of the fundamental vibration or cosmic sound that establishes the patterns and principles governing all subsequent manifestation on lower planes. This ultimate level of reality transcends all human concepts of existence and non-existence, representing what the ancient wisdom traditions term the causeless cause, or rootless root, from which all cosmic activity emerges. The logoic plane serves as the interface between the absolute, unmanifested divine essence and the first stirrings of cosmic manifestation that eventually produce the vast hierarchies of beings and forms throughout the seven planes of existence. According to Blavatsky's exposition of the master teachings, the consciousness that operates on the logoic plane encompasses entire solar systems and galactic structures, functioning as the guiding intelligence that coordinates the evolution of countless planetary schemes and their associated life waves. These cosmic beings, known in esoteric literature as solar logoi or planetary spirits, embody the divine plan for the development of consciousness throughout vast cycles of cosmic time. The logoic plane represents the ultimate synthesis toward which all evolution tends, the level where perfect unity is achieved without the loss of consciousness that characterizes lower forms of absorption into the divine. Blavatsky taught that while this exalted state lies infinitely beyond current human attainment, the knowledge of its existence provides the supreme inspiration for spiritual development and service. The entire journey through the seven planes ultimately aims toward conscious participation in the divine creativity that flows from this cosmic source. One of the most sophisticated aspects of Blavatsky's cosmological teaching concerns the interpenetration and correspondence between the seven planes, demonstrating how these apparently separate levels of existence actually function as aspects of a unified cosmic system. In The Secret Doctrine, she explained that the planes are not stacked like floors in a building, but rather interpenetrate each other completely, with each point in space containing all seven levels of manifestation simultaneously, differing only in the rate of vibration and degree of materiality. This principle of interpenetration explains how consciousness can function on multiple planes simultaneously, and how influences from higher planes can directly affect lower levels of manifestation. Blavatsky described how thoughts and emotions generated on their respective planes immediately create corresponding effects on the etheric and physical levels, while spiritual realizations achieved on higher planes gradually transform the entire septenary constitution of the individual. The law of correspondence, summarized in the Hermetic axiom "as above, so below," finds its complete expression in Blavatsky's plane system, as she demonstrated how identical principles operate on all seven levels with appropriate modifications for each plane's characteristics. The same fundamental forces that govern atomic structure also determine the organization of solar systems, while the laws that regulate human psychological development mirror the principles guiding cosmic evolution. Blavatsky's teaching on plane correspondence provided practical guidance for spiritual development, as understanding the relationship between planes enables the conscious direction of energy from higher to lower levels. Advanced practitioners learn to invoke spiritual forces from upper planes to transform conditions on lower levels, achieving healing, inspiration, and accelerated evolution through the conscious application of correspondential laws. This knowledge forms the theoretical foundation for all genuine magical and spiritual practices. The journey of consciousness through the seven planes represents the central theme of Blavatsky's evolutionary philosophy, as outlined in her comprehensive treatment of cosmic and human development in The Secret Doctrine. According to her teachings, every monad or divine spark begins its evolutionary journey from the highest planes and gradually descends through increasingly dense levels of manifestation, gaining experience and developing specific faculties on each plane before beginning the return journey toward its divine source. This downward arc of evolution, known as the path of descent or involution, involves the progressive veiling of spiritual consciousness as it becomes increasingly identified with the limitations and characteristics of each successive plane. The process reaches its nadir on the physical plane, where consciousness becomes so focused on material existence that it temporarily loses awareness of its spiritual origin and destiny. This phase of maximum materiality provides the necessary resistance and challenge for developing individual will and self-consciousness. The upward arc of evolution, termed the path of ascent or evolution proper, begins when consciousness starts to recognize its spiritual nature and consciously works to transcend the limitations of lower planes while retaining the faculties and experiences gained during the descent. This process involves learning to function consciously on progressively higher planes, while maintaining the ability to operate effectively on all lower levels when necessary for service or specific purposes. Blavatsky explained that human beings currently stand at the turning point between the descending and ascending arcs, having achieved maximum physical development and beginning to awaken to their spiritual potential. The entire system of spiritual practices, philosophical study, and ethical development taught in theosophical literature aims to accelerate this upward journey by providing methods for consciously accessing higher planes and integrating their energies into daily life. The ultimate goal involves achieving conscious mastery of all 7 planes, while serving as a bridge for others following the same evolutionary path. Blavatsky's exposition of the 7 cosmic planes was not intended as mere philosophical speculation, but as practical knowledge that could be applied for spiritual development, healing, and service to humanity. In her writings and through the instruction of the masters, she provided specific methods for developing the faculties necessary to function consciously on different planes and utilize their resources for beneficial purposes. The development of etheric consciousness, according to Blavatsky's teachings, involves cultivating sensitivity to the vital forces that animate all living forms and learning to direct these energies for healing and regeneration. Practices such as breathing exercises, dietary purification, and magnetic healing help develop the etheric faculties while building the foundation for work on higher planes. The masters emphasized that etheric development must be balanced with emotional purification and mental discipline to avoid the dangers of uncontrolled psychic sensitivity. Astral consciousness development requires the systematic purification of desires and emotions, while cultivating the ability to maintain awareness during dream states and out-of-body experiences. Blavatsky provided detailed instructions for dream work, visualization practices, and the cultivation of psychic faculties while warning against the seductive attractions of astral phenomena that could distract from genuine spiritual progress. The goal involves achieving mastery over astral forces rather than becoming their victim. Mental plane development, according to the master teachings transmitted through Blavatsky, requires the cultivation of abstract thinking, concentration, and meditation practices that enable direct access to universal principles and archetypal ideas. The study of metaphysical philosophy, mathematics, and the fundamental patterns underlying natural phenomena helps strengthen the mental body while providing the conceptual framework necessary for understanding higher plane experiences. The ultimate aim involves developing the capacity for intuitive perception that transcends the limitations of rational thought while incorporating its valuable contributions. The 7-plane system presented by Blavatsky provided a comprehensive framework for understanding health and disease that encompassed physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual factors in a unified therapeutic approach. Her teachings revealed how imbalances and blockages on higher planes inevitably manifest as disorders on lower levels, suggesting that effective healing must address causes at their source rather than merely treating physical symptoms. According to the master teachings on healing, transmitted through Blavatsky's writings, disease originates from disharmony between the different aspects of human nature operating on various planes. Physical ailments often result from emotional conflicts, mental tensions, or spiritual disconnection that create disturbances in the etheric body's ability to channel life force effectively. Understanding these deeper causes enables healers to address root problems rather than merely alleviating surface manifestations. Blavatsky described various healing modalities that work through different planes, including magnetic healing that operates through the etheric level, color and sound therapy that influences astral and mental conditions, and spiritual healing that channels forces from the highest accessible planes. The most effective healers, according to her teachings, develop the ability to perceive disturbances on multiple planes simultaneously and apply appropriate remedies at each level. The therapeutic applications of plane consciousness extend beyond individual healing to encompass environmental and social healing as well. Blavatsky taught that communities and locations possess group auras that can be purified and harmonized through the conscious application of higher plane energies. Advanced practitioners learn to work with the invisible influences that shape collective consciousness, contributing to the healing of social conflicts and environmental imbalances through their understanding of septenary principles. Blavatsky's teachings on the 7 cosmic planes provide not only a map of current reality, but also a preview of humanity's future evolutionary possibilities as consciousness develops the capacity to function effectively on progressively higher levels of existence. According to the Master's revelations transmitted through her writings, the next major phase of human evolution involves the widespread development of Buddhic consciousness and the eventual awakening of atmic awareness in advanced individuals. The coming centuries, according to Blavatsky's prophetic insights, will witness the emergence of increasing numbers of individuals capable of conscious functioning on the mental and Buddhic planes while maintaining effective activity on lower levels. These pioneering souls will serve as bridges between current humanity and the superhuman consciousness that represents the next stage of evolutionary development. Their work will involve demonstrating the practical applications of higher plane consciousness and establishing new forms of education, healing, and social organization based on septenary principles. The eventual goal of human evolution, as outlined in Blavatsky's cosmological vision, involves the development of what she termed cosmic consciousness, the ability to function simultaneously on all 7 planes while maintaining perfect integration and balance between different levels of awareness. This achievement would mark the completion of the human kingdom's evolution and the beginning of participation in cosmic responsibilities that encompass entire planetary systems and solar schemes. Blavatsky emphasized that while these future developments lie far in the evolutionary future for most of humanity, understanding the 7-plane system provides essential guidance for current spiritual development and service opportunities. Every effort to purify the lower planes, develop higher faculties, and apply spiritual principles in daily life contributes to the overall elevation of human consciousness and the acceleration of evolutionary progress toward these ultimate cosmic possibilities. The septenary framework thus serves both as a practical guide for immediate development and as an inspiring vision of humanity's divine destiny within the infinite creativity of cosmic existence.